The executive floor of Thorn Global Holdings was a glass-wall fortress of white marble and chrome. Cassius, appearing as a humble janitor, was buffing the floor near the boardroom. He wore black utility coveralls, but his gold luxury watch was hidden beneath his sleeve. Vance, the CEO, stepped out of the boardroom. He was a portrait of arrogant entitlement in a bold red power suit. Behind him was Sloan, the HR director, clutching a red leather folder. Vance stopped in his tracks, his face contorting into an unmasked expression of aggressive rage. He viewed the presence of Janitor during his board hours as a personal insult. His nostrils flared, and a pulsing vein began to throb in his neck as he looked at Cassius. Why is this janitor scuffing the floors while I'm trying to close a billion-dollar merger? Vance roared. Sloan, fire him. Now. I am just doing my job, Mr. Vance, Cassius said, his voice a calm royal blue frequency. He stepped back defensively as Vance marched toward him. Vance's aggression turned physical. He lunged forward and delivered a heavy-handed, aggressive shove to Cassius's shoulder, slamming him back against a white marble pillar. You don't talk back to me, Vance snarled, his face showing anatomical micro-expressions of fury, his brow furrowed into deep ridges and his eyes widening in anger. Vance grabbed a bucket of dirty floor water and violently kicked it over, soaking Cassius's boots in expensive marble floor. He then grabbed Cassius by the collar of his black coveralls and pinned him against the glass wall, while Sloan stood by, nodding in approval. The witnesses, Sterling and Maya, stood by the elevator, their phones raised to capture the raw, unmasked fury on Vance's face as he physically manhandled the man. You're done, Vance hissed. Security will throw you out of this building head first. Cassius looked at the hand on his collar, his expression hardening. Vance, he whispered, you should have checked the new board registry this morning. The air in the 50th floor executive lobby was thick with the scent of floor wax and the metallic tang of pure, unadulterated hostility. Vance held his position, his fingers digging into the black utility fabric of Cassius's shoulder, maintaining his physical pin against the glass windows that looked out over the city. Vance's unmasked face was a mask of aggressive rage. His nostrils flared like a cornered beast, and the veins in his neck pulsed with the rhythm of his own heartbeat as he relished the sight of a man he considered below him. Sloan stood back, clutching her red leather folder like a shield of bureaucratic malice. You're not just fired. Vance spat, his face contorted with anatomical micro-expressions of fury, his brow furrowing into deep ridges and his skin turning an uneven, mottled red. I'm going to make sure your name is blacklisted from every service firm in this state. You'll be lucky to sweep a sidewalk when I'm done with you. Cassius slowly raised his hands, not in surrender, but to reach for the heavy-duty zipper of his black coveralls. With one fluid, deliberate motion, he unzipped the utility suit. Underneath, he did wear a cheap uniform. He wore a deep navy silk suit that shimmered with the unmistakable luster of a $10,000 garment, accented by a yellow silk tie and a gold luxury watch that caught the morning light. The only name being blacklisted today, Vance, is yours, Cassius said, his voice dropping into a lethal royal blue resonance that made the glass windows vibrate. Cassius reached into his inner jacket pocket and pulled out a gold-stamped ownership deed and his yellow-case master smartphone. He tapped the screen once. Suddenly, the massive 100-inch digital display in the lobby, usually looping corporate propaganda, flickered and changed. It displayed a bold, extreme close-up video of the last 10 minutes. The entire global staff, from the mailroom to the satellite offices, watched the high-definition feed of Vance's snarling face as he physically shoved a man who had just purchased the company's majority shares. Vance's grip on the navy silk lapel went limp. His face turned a sickly, translucent white, the mottled red patches on his skin fading into a mask of hollow terror as he realized he had just assaulted his new boss on a live internal broadcast. The elevators hissed open, and a team of board members in high clearance security in black tactical gear with yellow SEC lettering swarmed the floor. Sterling in his gold silk blazer and Maya in her silver designer dress moved forward, their phones capturing the raw, unmasked terror on Vance's face for the city's social media feeds. Mr. Vance, the chief legal officer announced, his voice echoing through the marble halls. As of 8 a.m., Cassius Thorn assumed 51% ownership of Thorn Global. Your contract has a moral turpitude clause. By laying hands on the chairman, you have effectively liquidated your own career, your stock options, and your severance. Cassius stepped into Vance's personal space, his deep navy silhouette towering over the man in the bold red suit. You thought the man cleaning your floors was invisible, Vance. But the truth is, I've been watching you for months. I didn't buy this firm for profit. I bought it to clean out the trash. And I'm starting with you. Vance, in a state of aggressive panic, tried to stammer out an apology, reaching out to touch Cassius's arm. He was instantly intercepted. Two security officers firmly grabbed Vance by his arms, twisting him behind his back in a brutal lock. They forced him to his knees on the very spot where he had kicked over the bucket. Sloane was grabbed by her red-trimmed blazer and forced down beside him. Liquidate their credentials, Cassius commanded. The security team ripped the scarlet tie from Vance's neck and the bold red blazer from his shoulders, leaving him in his undershirt. They physically dragged Vance and Sloane through the lobby, their shoes squeaking on a wet marble as the entire board of directors jeered and recorded the disgrace. They were dragged into the service elevator, the same one Vance had told Cassius he belonged in, and dumped in the alleyway. Cassius straightened his deep navy silk lapels and looked at the wet floor. Get a professional cleaning crew in here, he told the remaining staff. I want every trace of that man scrubbed from my building. The power was destroyed. The truth was revealed, and the villain was liquidated.